playoffs have begun. I just want to give you some of my initial takes on the series and how they're gonna play out. I was able to do a predictions video, but these are some of the trends that I'm noticing and some of the things that can actually decide series. So when you look at the Golden State Warriors versus the Los Angeles Clippers, they win game one. Stephen Curry went off for 38 points, 15 rebounds, 15 rebounds by a guard, which is amazing. I think the last person to do that, and especially in the playoffs, I'm trying to think back by a guard, it was like Kobe, Game 7, and against the Boston Celtics. You remember everybody saying how poorly he shot, even though he scored the most out of everybody that played that game. He had like 18 rebounds or something like that. Curry's the engine that makes that team go. He is highly underrated in terms of the fans' perception of him. I think players really regard him as one of the top 5 players ever. Top 5 players in the league right now. And going down further down the line, he could be considered top 20, top 10. Whatever the chips may fall. But he's underrated in the sense that people just think he's a bad defender. They don't look at him as a rebounder. He does everything on the court, really. He drives the pace of the game. He spreads the floor. As far as the Clippers, this is a great audition for them for their 2 max slots. So like whether it's Kawhi Leonard and somebody else, or they could make a trade going down the line. If they could take a game for the Warriors, even 2, they could chalk that up and use it and say, hey, we weren't able to beat the Warriors, but we were able to compete without any superstars. And we have a nice base. We have Montrezl Harrell, Gallinari, Patrick Beverly. You give us 2 stars, we could possibly compete against the Warriors, even beat them. So that is really, really cool to see and really fun to watch. Moving on to the Rockets series against the Utah Jazz. The Utah Jazz are in trouble with that defensive scheme, which is horrible. Rockets are in control with their defense. Their defense is on point, but the Jazz defensive scheme, letting him blow by instead of playing him straight up, is awful. They should play him straight up and give him different looks, like straight up, and then sit on that left hand. Don't foul, just sit on the left hand and make him make those weird threes or whatever, step back threes, because a contest is a contest. But like if you're just letting him blow by you and think he's not going to lob it to Clint Capella 20 times, you're dumb. James Harden's going to make the right basketball move. He's going to handle his business how he should. The problem with the Jazz is their defensive scheme is awful, and that's what they're hanging their hat on because they can't score. Watching them play that game, they couldn't score. The kids, Donovan Mitchell, he's struggling. It's only game 1 though, so I expect them to pick it up. But everybody else, they just can't score. Crowder is not a consistent 3-point threat. Their 3-point threats aren't that consistent, and just the way that their offense is too slow. They're too slow. They have to move the ball side to side against that Rockets defense and plug it in inside. And the thing I noticed, Jazz bigs, they don't have great hands. The fact that they don't have great hands is gonna hurt them, and it could end up a quick series, a 5 or 6 game series, a 5-game series, or even a sweep, because they don't have great hands. And when that leads to turnovers, and that leads to the Rockets shooting threes. So that's something that I see with that series. Moving on to the Blazers series against the OKC Thunder. Now, people might say, like, hey, the OKC Thunder, they're in great shape. There's not a problem with them. Everything's all good. I disagree. I think that when you have Russell Westbrook and Paul George going 4 for 19 from 3, Russell Westbrook went 0 for from the field. And on top of that, listen to this. Westbrook had a triple-double, and they still lost the game. I mean, they lost the game by 5, but when you think about it, they were trailing by 19. They got cut it to 2, and then it kind of down the stretch. Ennis Cantor, one of their former players, took over in terms of rebound, 18 rebounds, which is absolutely amazing. And the thing is, guys gotta understand, the OKC Thunder are known for their rebounding. So if they're known for their rebounding, how can you get out rebounded by a Blazers team that's much smaller than you? So I think honestly speaking, that's a 6 to 7 game series, and I'm picking Portland to win that series because they got McCollum healthy, Lillard healthy, and those guys are making their shots. And Russell Westbrook and Paul George, they're just giving you like all these bailout moments, and they're trying to shoot all these crazy threes and stuff. Like they're making too many poor decisions. This series is basically gonna be boiled down to who makes the most poor decisions. Whoever makes the most mistakes loses the series. Because talent-wise, I would say OKC has more talent, but in scoring-wise, the Blazers can score a lot better than OKC, a lot easier and simpler. So that being said, it's like if the Blazers make mistakes in terms of not controlling the pace of the game, they're gonna let OKC back in, which they did in Game 1. But if OKC keeps jacking up ill-advised shots, Blazers got that series. So I'm picking the Blazers, though. I think they've been ridiculed for getting swept 2 rounds in a row. I think they're here to make a statement. Then you look at the Spurs and the Denver Nuggets. Denver cannot go down 0-2. Then if you look at think about this. A couple weeks ago, Denver, I think they didn't really try to go for the #1 seed because they didn't want to play the Clippers. And like the way they were doing, a lot of people were accusing Denver of trying to miss OKC. So they're trying to work their record in a way that they didn't have to play OKC. Guess what? You're playing somebody worse than OKC now in the terms of San Antonio Spurs because they might not have the most talent, but they're disciplined. And the thing about a disciplined team, you're not going to beat them. They're going to beat themselves. You know what I'm saying? Only way you can beat them is if you out-talent them. But in terms of making mistakes and all this other stuff, a disciplined team will not do that. And this is Denver's worst nightmare. If they played OKC, they'll be way better off. They'll be way better off. Now they're playing a team that listens to the game plan, follows all the rules that Papa set up for them, doesn't take ill-advised shots. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. You lose Game 1 like this, triple-double from Jokic, and I hate these triple-double numbers because they don't really mean anything. You're not winning any games. But even if you win Game 2, San Antonio came to your house and got the split. So you're in trouble. Like they have to put on dominant performances straight down the line just to eliminate any doubt out of their minds. Or this could be an upset. This can be an upset. People are thinking like, oh, like no, the Joker, everything. It's not about that when playoff time comes. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Playoffs is when you get your name. This is when you learn your name. All of this, the Joker, this, that, and the third, everybody got their nickname, their regular. That don't mean nothing. Chef Curry, that comes up from the postseason. You know what I'm saying? Kevin Durant's acumen, that came from the postseason. This is where you earn your name. This is where you earn your stripes. This is where heroes are made. Point blank period. Denver has to really take that up. Shifting to the East, you looked at the Boston Celtics against the Pacers. I'm not really going to say much about that series. Pacers just don't have it in them to score. Boston Celtics have way too much firepower. And the crazy thing is they're not even using it to the best of their ability yet. Imagine when they really start clicking and gelling. Like they're still trying to figure themselves out even in the playoffs, which is crazy to me. That's why they were down like 16 points or whatever. So that series to me, that series is gonna be a quick series. I think that might be a sweep. But the Pacers do play hard. They might be able to win game, but that's gonna be a sweep. Now you look at the Raptors and the Orlando Magic. Kyle Lowry's costing them the series right now in terms of his timidity. He only took 9 shots, 0 for 9. He doesn't want to shoot anymore. Defensively, he was getting cooked. At the end of the day, I don't know if it was DeMar DeRozan was the problem or Kyle Lowry was the problem. DeMar DeRozan, he won a playoff game just recently. So now it's looking like Kyle's very suspicious. I don't know, ever since he got blocked by Kevin Hart, his game went down in the toilet or whatever. Space Jam, something sucked out the powers of him, but he needs to get it together, point blank period. Kawhi Leonard is doing his thing, but the guys around him that aren't stepping up, Marc Gasol, their team is too good to lose like that to the Orlando Magic. Well, some of that goes down to the coaching. Coach didn't make some good decisions. He didn't make some good adjustments point down the stretch, and that's what cost them the game. But I'm confident that they should win this series, but the next round is tough, and this might be why Kawhi is going to go out west. The Bucks and the Pistons, I don't even really know what to say about that. The Pistons, they don't have shooting. They don't have anything really. Only thing they have is Blake, because you would think Andre Drummond has progressed. He's been in the playoffs before, but I think the Bucks are gonna sweep them. They're gonna sweep them. The Bucks look very, 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 very dominant. And if Blake Griffin is not gonna continue not to play or be unhealthy, that's a wrap for them. So I'm not really gonna delve too much into that series because not really to talk about there. They dominated them from start to finish. And the last series, which is very interesting, and this goes back to that Western Conference series between the Nuggets and the Spurs. The Philadelphia 76ers are playing the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn takes game one. Brooklyn didn't even really play that well, but defensively, they held court. They made the Sixers do things they weren't supposed to do in terms of their weakness and everything. And then when you look at it from this perspective, people are like really banging on Ben Simmons for like not being able to score a lot, and people were booing them and stuff like that. Which, you know, hey, it is what it is. People getting booed. But some things that can't happen are like that cell phone incident on the sideline, which I understand that Amir Johnson was checking on his daughter, but Embiid was just kind of like not engaged or whatever. Somebody's looking down. Whatever. Like, he wasn't engaged. I think at the end of the day, Sixers have to really step it up, because Jimmy Butler had like 30 points, and you lose that game, and then you look at Embiid in terms of his knee, and then you look at the confidence Brooklyn just got by getting one on your home court. The Sixers have to step up. You have too much firepower. You have shooting in J.J. Redick, and I know Ben Simmons cannot shoot a lick, so don't make him shoot. Put him in the post. Put Embiid on the other block, or let him set screens for J.J. Redick. He'll dive to the basket. Set up plays like that. You know, Tobias Harris didn't really shoot particularly well, but when people are like, oh, Philly doesn't have shooters or Ben Simmons can, all right, well, J.J. Redick, McConnell could shoot mid-range, Harris could shoot, Embiid could hit a jumper, Jimmy Butler could hit a jumper. Well, so you can't put all this on Ben Simmons, because a lot of other guys didn't show up as well. And honestly speaking, somebody else didn't show up as well, and that's the coach, Brett Brown. Brett Brown is in trouble. If they go down 0-2, or if they lose this series, or they struggle to get out of this series, Brett Brown's gone. They need to win the next 4 games in a row. Or, yeah, point blank, to me, yeah, they have to win the next 4 games in a row, or Elton Brand's going to have the decision to make. Because you can't have a coach with all that talent, and the team is struggling, and there's no real clear adjustments that are being made. It's just basically gritty hustle ball. Like, gritty hustle ball is not going to beat a win against a disciplined team. That's the thing people don't understand. When the team isn't that good talent-wise, the worst thing an opponent can face of a team that's not talented is a disciplined team. Because now you still have to make the right moves. You have no room for error, no margin of error, because they're going to make the right play every time. You could be goofy and get down 10, 20 points, 10, 15 points, but you're playing a disciplined team. Now they're going to milk the clock. Now they're going to do the things they need to do. And look at it, Russell didn't have a great first half. He closed them off pretty good. But, you know, Embiid with the knee injury, they said that he dominated Nets bigs before. Not now. So now we have a problem, Houston. And how's Philly going to figure it out? I don't know. But to me, they have to get Ben Simmons on that low block and more post-ups. Stop having them bring up the ball. Have somebody bring up the ball. Let them get in the post. Put Embiid in the other post. Or let Embiid set screens for J.J. Redick, and he dives to the basket. Things that can produce double teams. Point blank period. But that's my initial takes on the series. Let me know what you think, how you seeing it, how you enjoying the playoffs. I'm loving it. Playoff time, baby. Hoops Junction, where hoops meets hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.